Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Brandon's Garages. So today we're going to be sprucing up this 2024 Model 3 Performance. The stance on these things, it's not good from the factory. The wheels kind of set in pretty far, they just don't look right. So we're going to be putting some spacers, wheel spacers on it, and we're also going to be taking off these aero caps. These are all removable from the factory, which is kind of nice and kind of gives good exposure. I think it's a decent looking rim that they come with. And you can see the interior of these cars, pretty nice. They've got these more kind of buckets, different from the previous generation. Just a little bit cleaner, a little bit carbon fiber dash pad, stuff like that. And then of course they come with carbon fiber rear spoiler, which is nice. Performance-wise, 1080s, and I've gotten I think 1080s or 1090s out of this thing, which is pretty decent. 122 mile an hour, somewhere around there on the draggy. And they've got front splitters and a different front bumper from the regular Model 3. So from a performance perspective, at the price point under 60, I don't think you can get much better than this. 550 horsepower or something like that. Torque's over 500, so 0 to 60 is like 2.9, 2.8. So it really scoots for what it is, but it just needs a little bit in the looks department. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to get this thing in the garage and then we're going to get started. This will be a short one, so stay tuned. All right, so we're going to get this thing pulled in. Just in case anybody's curious how these operate. Super good camera systems on them. Very easy, you can get on with your phone. Everything's automated. Just a no thinking kind of car. And then that's how you do the gear shift. You can also do the gear shift up here if you need to. It's got up there too. All right, so let's get pulled in here. Get this thing jacked up. Alrighty, next stop, in the air. Okay, so I ordered the wheel spacer kit from Model Plus. Linked the website on here. 189 bucks shipped. I was expecting a spacer that had, most of them I've seen have studs on one side, and you basically put the stud in on your existing, you put your lug nut on your existing lug studs that slide through, and then you shift the wheel, and then that sets in the recesses on the wheel, and then you put new lug studs on top. And that's usually how most of the spacers work that I've seen. So you get good contact with the threads, but this setup does not have that. So that's gonna be interesting. We'll see how this looks. I don't like the idea of spacing off this far on the lug studs because you're not gonna get as many turns. So I'm hoping with these special lug nuts that they somehow get up in there and they grab more. Maybe that's where they are able to justify this. But and then on the front, this kind of distance, not a big deal. I think that's like, I want to have to measure it, but it's a few millimeters. So it's just a slight spacing. The rear is where I'm concerned with because that's going to be a lot to put on the stock lugs. All right, so for those of you who have not worked on yours yet, we're going to take a quick look at the jack points. Went on Tesla's website to verify. This is exactly where you jack at. So there's these corner pieces that have a big hole in them. These solid, and one on each side on the front here, and then the one on the back on both sides. So there's your 4 jack points. It's kind of obvious when you're looking at it, at least from underneath on a lift. I'm going to show you real quick kind of what the underside of these cars look like. All enclosed. Anyways, all right, so now I'm just going to jack up the rear. We'll do the rear first since that's the most questionable right now. All right, so we're going to start off by attempting to pull these caps off. Supposedly they just pull off, so I'm just going to see. I've not done it yet. So you can just pop them off of there. Now they got little clips on the insides, so hopefully it's not that hard. I hope I don't break it. I feel it trying to work its way. It's not as easy as I was expecting. I'll get one of my plastic tools and try to pry it. I'll be back. All right, so if you take I got a plastic pry tool. Just take it behind it, bop it in, and then you can pop it. It should pop off. Not as easy as I was expecting, but not hard per se. And then basically just found that's probably the easiest way to do it because it gets it loose. off. And we'll clean all this. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll get the center cap off. The center caps are plastic. And this should just pry off, hopefully, and not break. Feels pretty flimsy. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. I won't bore you with the rest of this, but. This wheel down and we're gonna get it all. Okay, so I noticed, I thought it was my pry tool, that because I was seeing some indentions on the wheel, but it's actually where these mount. They actually have abrasions from the factory. So when you take these off, they've already got spots where this is setting, pushing in. So you can see here on the big pieces, that's right where that would be coming out. So it actually hits. I think it's actually these corner pieces are actually touching and creating marks. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a factory issue. So it wasn't my pry tool that was causing these marks. It was actually, they had that from the factory. So that kind of sucks. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's figure out what size we need. Okay, so these are a 19 millimeter. I'm sorry, 21 millimeter, and I'm thinking of the Corvettes. And I don't know off the top of my head torque specs, but I'll get those in a second. Okay, so just set it on. It slides right on. Feels right. So there's a decent amount of threads here, especially if this is able to get all contact points. Then I feel okay as long as it's getting, you can get at least 8 to 10 turns here, and looks like that's probably gonna be plenty as long as it gets to the center of that hub. So that's luckily these come with pretty long lug studs, which kind of helps this process. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels on. These are actually easier than I thought. So all right, let's get this sucker on. Okay, I'm assuming these must sit far in there because I don't like this. So size these are. That's not, I don't like this. Let's see. Not gonna knock it just yet. Let me get these on. We'll go from there first. All right, so these are 19 millimeter. And as you can see, it's not much is sticking out. So I'm hoping when all this goes into the recess, it gets far enough in there. So let's count our turns here. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll see what the rest once we get that left on. So at least 5 turns. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 turns before it starts getting tight. So that's going to be 5 threads. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. It's probably gonna be 6 turns by the time it's over and said and done with. Now, if you're autocrossing or road racing, I don't think I'd recommend, that's a lot of lateral forces you're gonna be putting on these things. I don't know if I would be comfortable with that amount of turns. Well, it's getting a little better as it tightens up. It might be 6 or 7. There's another 2 at least. Okay. That's all right. I think we're okay. 7, 8 full turns. Okay, so, and that's it. It's on there. You can see it's more recessed. It's got those special lugs. That looks all right. Now let's go ahead and get some weights real quick with these spacers so you know what you're adding here. So I got my gram scale. Fronts, 138 grams. Rear, that's over a pound each. So you're looking at 600 grams. It's like 400 plus for a pound. So that's over a pound each on these. So you're gonna add, rotating mass over a pound of the car. So actually roughly 2.5 pounds or so. All right, so on the opposite side, don't notice as many of those little spots on there. So, but they're still in the same distance. So, it's possible I was doing it somehow with my tool, but I do see them over here just in less frequency. You see there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think this from the factory, they kind of leave indentions kind of randomly depending on how they're taken on and off. So anyway, so this side's done. We're gonna swap over to the fronts. Okay, now on the fronts, same deal. We'll pop these off. Once you do it a few times, it gets kind of easy. Just make sure you push from the outside first. And make it a little easier. Just kind of getting the motion down. And obviously the big ones are harder. So I usually use my tool. And I flip the non-scratchy side, smooth side of the back. So there's 2 points that I touched. So let's see what it looks like here. And there's a pointy. It's got, you can still see the little spots on them. So it doesn't matter what you do, they're there. So it's not anything I'm doing, it's just part of like the wheels. See, this already got same, so it's just, that's just part of it, I guess, with these. A lot of stuff for a dang set of wheels. One more. Now the centers I found on the other side, one in each corner, and then just pull together and those slings off. Basically, kind of like spring loaded, so that's how you do it. A lot of pieces to one wheel. Look at this. Each wheel has all those pieces. All right, so I'm gonna take this off real quick. Couple of those. That's my 19. Then the 21. Get this sucker over to the scales. Oh, well, take just a second. I gotta jack it up a little more. Hang on. Okay, so it's a little. I think it's 4 millimeter, maybe 5, 4 or 5. I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember. Let's put that on, but it uses the stock lugs, so it's easy peasy. But we are going to weigh this front one. That's because we weigh everything around here. This is how I roll. Looks like this goes. I'm not a huge fan of non-hub centric spacers. But, oh well, it is what it is. I can't do much about it now. It'd be more ideal if these were hub centric. Meaning they kind of like centered through this hub, like they set and they're machined to where they kind of can't move, because this theoretically could kind of be in a weird place. But all right, we're gonna go for a ride, make sure we don't have any vibrations. So let's clean this off. Now let's check the weights. All right, front wheels and tires without the aero spacers. Model 3 Performance 6.4 pounds. And that is with a Pirelli. I want to say this is like a 245, 235, 35, 20. All right, so now we're gonna go slap this sucker on there. All right, so let's see how many threads we're gonna lose here. 1, hang on. Yeah, 1, okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tons of turns. That's plenty. You're not really losing much. That's 8 turns already, so. So she's done. I'm gonna let the suspension settle, back it out, and we'll kind of go for a ride and kind of see what we think. You guys know me, watch my channel, you know I'm gonna recommend something that I don't feel like it's a good product. Right now I'm kind of on the fence. I don't really like the way those real spacers go. I'm not a big fan of the fronts either. So we'll see. As long as there's no vibration, everything rolls around good. I may give it a like, okay, as far as from aesthetic mod only. So let's back it out. Let's see what we're dealing with. In case any of you Tesla guys are curious how much the aero stuff weighs, that's how much space it takes up. I've got this zeroed with the container, so we're gonna take that off. So all the aero pieces except for the center caps. So it feels pretty heavy. So I added basically 2.5 pounds or so, and then took off 6.7 pounds is what all that aero stuff weighs. So if you're concerned about mileage, that should stay on. Theoretically, acceleration wise, at least down low, you should have benefit actually going to these spacers if you take all this off, or better, if you get 6 pounds off your car just by taking those off. So that's crazy. we're gonna do a quick little drive. See if we got any vibration. Won't be a long one. Alright, I'm at 70 miles an hour, no vibration. I think. Straighten it up a little bit. Steering wheel, no movement. All right, so get a little faster. No vibration at 90, so it seemed to be fine. I was kind of worried that there would be some sort of vibration or the car drives straight. It always veers a little bit to the right there. That's kind of where the road goes. All right, so we're good so far. Next up will be impressions from the wife. All right, so what do you guys think?
I think it looks great.
All right. What's different, Charlie?
I think it's like the wheels of like right there.
What's different about it?
Have like the arrows are like looking different.
Okay.
Wheels.
All right. Anything else different?
I don't see anything else different.
Anything about how far out it is?
Yeah, how far out it is.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
All right. Does it look better or worse or same?
I think it looks a lot better. It makes him look like really sporty and kind of cool.
Okay. All right. So those are impressions. All right. So stay tuned. Next video is going to be fixing
Make
curb
sure to
rash
like
on
and
my
subscribe.
Model S. Hold on, Charlie. Next video is going to be my Model S fixing some curb rash that I accidentally did. And then we're going to be putting our carbon ceramic rotors on the factory OEM iron brakes on the C806. So like and subscribe if you like what you see, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.